First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this is an article that came out yesterday. As you've been seeing, there's a lot of information that's basically talking about the same thing. Some articles go more in depth, some articles, come with more updates. Okay, and it's our job as prophets to watch these things and watch these signs and continue to give the warning. Okay, you may have done 10 videos on the same thing, but hey, it may be the 11th video you do that somebody, that the Lord directs it to somebody to watch. So this is from the New York Post. What I'll do is I'll leave the link to the article in the description box. Although it's also easy to find if you just type in this title, and you look for New York Post, you should find it. So as you can see, it says here, food shortages could be just as deadly as the global pandemic. Okay, the GP. Okay, the global yada yada. You hear that? And it says here, leading global health figure has warned the next worldwide health crisis could come in the form of food shortages, as the price of basic supplies skyrockets in even the wealthiest of nations. Peter Sands, who is the executive director of the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria, believes a food shortage could be just as deadly as an airborne pandemic if authorities fail to prepare. Okay, and so now you're starting to, they're starting to basically throw those reality shots at you. That now the next thing you're gonna be looking at, all right, the next thing that's gonna come in, or one of the next things that's gonna come and push the CVPD into history is gonna be a worldwide food crisis. As they said, it could be just as deadly. Now, it's one thing to die from a pestilence, and it's another thing to die by starvation. Starvation is not, you don't want to die that way. All right. It says, according to Sands, after over 2 years of completely restructuring the world upon the emergence of a respiratory pathogen, governments now have to prepare for an even more complicated beast. Okay, which is according to prophecy, because until this place gets taken out, there's gonna be no rest. There's gonna be no break to the things that are gonna be happening. Let me just put it like that. All right, and that's what's been prophesied in the Holy Scriptures. So it says Australia is already beginning to see early signs of food stress as lettuce prices hit an incredible $12 per head. Wow. In some areas following the flood season. Natural disasters, coupled with inflation and complications in the global trade industry, could produce a perfect storm as the globe begins to find its feet. See? And they keep throwing out that term, perfect storm, perfect storm, perfect storm. All right. That's what it's looking like, a conglomerate of all these different factors that are just producing the worst possible outcome for people. Okay. Now, you may wonder, how does the MOTB, how is that going to play into this? Well, keep in mind that they're trying to switch from the monetary system that it is now to a digital system. And the thing is, what they're trying to change is not just the financial system or the monetary system. They're trying to change the whole everything. Okay, everything. But at the head is going to be that commerce. So, at first you might think, well, so is the MOTB going to come out and then all hell breaks loose? Is all hell going to break loose because people don't want it to, what's going on? But now it's starting to look clear that with all the chaos going on, it's very likely that what they're going to present as the solution is going to be that MOTB, which makes sense as to why it's going to be such a heavy temptation, because there's going to be so much hell going on the earth, on the whole planet, that if they present to you a solution, they present to you a break, a relief, some way out of it, even if it comes in the form of the MOTB, the M to the A to the R to the K, all right, people knowing that are still going to take it because they're going to be in such a desperate position, right? They're going to be in that temptation. Do I keep on barely surviving as I've been going on now? Or do I just, succumb to the temptation and be able to finally get a relief from this? And finally get food to eat and be able to get my life back and, get assimilated into the new world, so to speak. Okay, so that's why they're behind the manufacturing of the food crises. Lord willing, I'll do another video. I saw another article on how the UK is closing down one of their plants that produces fertilizer, and which will leave them with only one plant that produces fertilizer for them, which is not good. And farmers keep on telling, they keep saying that look, the way things are going, man, it's not looking good at all. All right, so everybody from every aspect, every corner is coming with bad news. And yet, still to this day, you have people that walk around, not a clue as to what's going on. And that's why the scriptures say that it's going to come suddenly, because they're not watching. See, to us, it's expected. We're waiting for it to happen. To them, they don't even know something like this is about to happen. So when it hits them, when it hits this place hardcore, it's going to be different outlooks, different reactions, pursuant to Isaiah 33:6. All right, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. And the scriptures say, Hosea 4:6, that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because they hated knowledge. All right. Now you see here, attention customers, due to the ongoing CVPD, some items may be in limited supply or out of stock. It says, Sands, who works in areas already struggling with poverty and malnutrition, says wealthy governments risk making the classic mistake of concerning themselves only with the crisis that reflect the most recent disaster the world has faced. It is not as well defined as some brand new pathogen appearing with distinctive new symptoms, but it could well be just as deadly. And he's talking about the global food crisis. All right. It says, Sands said, and that's not the only thing that you're going to be facing. So these elites really want to make sure that after, like when they officially come ready to say, all right, this is what we have to do, they can say that with full confidence, knowing that people are going to be so desperate that they'll be on board, even if they were against it before. Because a lot of people now are very weary of that MOTB technology. They know that this is leading to a totalitarian Black Mirror, that kind of, digital slave kind of stuff. But then again, people knew that they couldn't trust taking this Vanessa. But yet they took it. Out of what? Desperation. When the squeeze came. What was a lot of people's excuse? Oh, I'm not doing it because I want to. Or, my job. Or, my life. Or, So even though they knew that they shouldn't do it, they still did it. Why? Because the squeeze came down. So that's why these elites, they know that people know that the charagma, the system they're going to bring, the actual physical thing they're going to put in you is biblical prophecy. They know that people are aware that it's the MOTB. But they know that with the level of desperation and pressure that they're going to bring, people are still going to do it. You know why? Because just knowing what the MOTB is doesn't mean that you're not going to take it. Okay, just knowing what it is does not mean that you're not going to take it. People know that eating pork is a sin, and yet they do it. People know that committing adultery is a sin, and yet they do it. So people are going to know that taking the MOTB is a sin, is going off, and yet they're going to do it. Okay, because it's disobeying ultimately the laws of the Heavenly Father. And if you want to get technical with it, that incision is going off. Okay, but nevertheless, they're going to do it for whatever reasons they have. People have many reasons for disobeying the Lord. So just because they know that the Lord said don't do something, that doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. And that's why in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, in the 10th verse, it says that the Lord, all right, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee. I also keep thee in the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world to try them. So in that time, the Lord is going to be the one keeping us. And these elites are well aware of that. And that's why they're like, okay, we need to make sure this chaos is maximum. So maximum that even though these people are aware of what we're doing and they know what it means and what it signifies, they're still going to do it anyway because of how desperate and in need they're going to be. You go to somebody that's been starving for 4 or 5 days, and you present them with a bowl full of bacon and pork chops, and pork meat, fried, roasted, all different varieties of it. And you tell them, hey, that's pork right there. What you doing? You gonna starve to keep the laws of your God, or you gonna take a bite of that pork and ask for forgiveness later? That's how the devil comes. That's how he comes to you. So they're going to use that because now you're going to be put in a position where you're going to see how they're going to make people like. That's why the Lord said that when you take that MOTB, there's no coming back because you have to consent. You have to go and take it. So it's just like being presented with starvation or the bowl of pork. And just because people know that pork is bad doesn't mean that hunger cannot convince them otherwise. And that's what these elites are banking on. So when they starve people out, and then on top of that, they throw out the pestilences, and the Lord is really behind it to test the inhabitants of the world. That's what it means in Revelation 3 and 10, to try them. So he has them throw out the famine. And as things again, hard. See, it starts with things becoming expensive. Then it gets to the point where you can't even afford it. Then it gets to the point where you can't even find it. It's super scarce. Then it gets to the point where now you don't have anything that you can find to eat. So now, you're scrambling, trying to put little things together, and then those little things run out, and now you're completely screwed. And now you're going without food for a while. And as these things start happening, people are going to be running. See, when panic buying sets in, which it will very soon, people are going to start buying. They're going to rush to gold and silver. They're going to rush to water. They're going to rush to the food. They're going to can goods, dry goods. They're going to empty out these stores. And it's going to be looking worse than Black Friday on steroids. So you don't want to be caught out there. Of course, you do what you got to do. But it's going to be so critical that it's going to be dangerous. All right. And as all that is going on, who knows? They might throw in another lockdown. They might throw in some more pestilences, more deadly ones that are actually doing damage and not just propaganda. And in the midst of that, they thrown in maybe a recession. Okay, they're collapsing the economy. Your money is worthless. What do you do now? Maybe they might send some agent provocateurs in there. Cause some more racial tensions, more economic civil war tensions. Start shootings. Start triggering, people to get into that kind of spirit. And that produces the maximum chaos needed to then declare martial law. And in that time of martial law, it can be completely justified in declaring it. Because some people are gonna look at it and say, we need martial law because it's too crazy out here. It's like when people call the police. When there's chaos, a fight breaks out, gunshots, what do people do? They call the police. Now, these are the same people that say, I don't mess with the cops, I hate the cops, but they'll call 911 because they'd rather deal with the cops than the violence going on, right? So when all hell starts breaking loose out here in these streets, and they get so bad, people getting raped, killed, murdered, eaten, burnt, eyes gouged out, just pure violence, worse in some places than others, lack of security, people are going to they're going to sacrifice their freedom for security and shelter, or at least what they perceive it to be. And so they're going to be happy that martial law gets declared, that peacekeeping troops and, these FEMA troops get sent out here to take over, all right, in hopes that they can quell the chaos. But when they take over, they're going to present you, at the same time, you're going to have people in the economic side, saying, look, the global economies are crashed. You know, they're going down. They're going down quick, and we need to do something, and we need to do something quickly. We clearly we can't use the old monetary system because it's already crashing. So we need to jump onto or speed up our onboarding onto the digital currencies. And once they can push that on an acceptable level, not on an experimental level, not on an introductory level, but on an experimental level, on an accepted level worldwide, then they can start to further build upon that. Okay, well, now that we're in the digital system, this is what we got to do. We got to have a digital constitution. We got to change this. We got to change that. You got to do this. You got to take that. That's the world now. That's the new normal. That's how we make it out of this world crisis. You know, like in Rome, there was a period in Rome. I think it was the crisis of the 3rd century or something. Let me see. Rome crisis. Yep, crisis of the 3rd century. It says here, the crisis of the 3rd century, also known as military anarchy or imperial crisis, was a period in which the Roman Empire nearly collapsed. It ended due to the military victories of Aurelian and with the ascension of Diocletian and his implementation of reforms in 284. So, just like that, this place is going to be on a near collapse, a complete collapse, and they're going to come out, hey, we have reforms and ways to fix this and make your lives better. Are you down? But anyway, let's keep going in this article. So it says here, Sands said governments needed to strengthen health systems to prepare for the health repercussions of food shortages. And they're going to have rations. And when there's rations, there's long lines. When there's long lines, people get robbed, people get hurt, people get killed for their rations. All right? And people have to follow a certain protocol in order to get rations. You got to be identified. They got to know who you are, how much you're getting, who's getting what. So wouldn't there be a need for some identification system? Right? It says, while it is unclear just how devastating accelerated food shortages could be to a first world country like Australia, health experts have urged leaders to stay vigilant. The Global Fund is aiming to raise $18 billion to boost worldwide health systems and has already raised over a third of its target for the 2024 to 2026 period. It says here, we've been talking about these very scenarios for 50 years. We've been speculating, we've been measuring, we've been applying our minds to making predictive models, but for various reasons, we've not been taken particularly serious. We've centralized and commodified and simplified all the foods we eat, she explains. That's made it incredibly vulnerable to the extremes in weather that are happening at the moment in Canada, the US, and Australia. The ability to absorb a conflict like that between Russia and Ukraine just isn't there. So you see why it's the perfect storm? All right, shelves are empty. This is going to be commonplace. Look at that. Look at that. There we go. And the things that are going to be left there are things that they wouldn't be the first thing you would go for, but desperation will make you go take anything at that point. All right, it says here, it's about the incredible implications of not getting these right. It goes beyond conflict and social unrest, because you're going to have a lot of that, 2nd Ezra 15 and 14 on down. It's also a national health issue, Dr. McFarlane continued, highlighting the potential pressures of climate change on food supplies around the world. And it's easier, when you have an Ian and your immune system is weak, it's easier for you to, they say usually a lot of people who die of like a light pathogen, a light disease, because their immune system is no longer able to really defend them, even on a level of even like a cold, to take you out. It says, in an ideal world, you can get what is currently an adequate amount of food produced around the globe into the mouths of everyone, we'd be okay. But that won't remain the case under climate change unless we are very clever. So now you got climate change being pushed out to the forefront. And one thing to really take note is that they're not telling you that, hey, we're fixing the problem. No, they're just telling you that, hey, there is a problem and blame Putin. So that's the thing. There's a problem and it's getting worse, but All we can do is tell you that there's a problem. Australia and New Zealand Food Agribusiness Research General Manager Stefan Vogel said the conflict would result in a huge shortage of grain this year and beyond. So they're projecting problems that are going to go longer than, this year. But it looks like this year might be the starting point. Now I have a quick precept here in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 22. It says, "For many of them that dwell upon the earth or upon earth shall perish of famine." When you perish, you die. So they're going to die of famine. So the famine, which is the lack of not having access to food, is going to cause a lot of people to die. It says, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So those that are able to get something to eat, or find a way to survive through that, they're going to die by another means. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. So you're going to have dead bodies out in the streets. As commonly as you see dog feces and bird shit on the floor, you're going to see dead bodies like that. Okay, it says, "And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down." So you're going to have destruction. You're going to have, people ain't going to come on here and tell you good news. Oh, everything is going to be all right. No. Like there's a scene from the movie Songbird when the helicopter is flying and you can see the city looking all messed up. It says here, and people thought just because Songbird didn't happen in 2021 that was it. Oh, forgot about it. No. Stay alert. Verse 24, "There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it." See, and when how do you get your crops and your products? How are you going to reap if you don't till the earth and sow it? If you don't prepare it and do the planting, how are you going to harvest? And if there's nobody to do that, then who's going to be, where the farmers at? Nobody's going to be able to really do their regular functioning job in society, and that's going to cause a heavy breakdown. It says, "The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men." There's going to be so much death that it's not going to be enough people to keep the world running, or to keep certain functions running as they should. It says, "So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice," because that's how scarce life is going to be. So many people are going to be dead. And you're going to be finding out, even in the beginning stages, you might get a call, "Yo, your cousin died. Yo, this died. Oh, this person is dead. Oh shit, wow, I went to high school. Oh, that." So many people are going to be dying, man. People you know, people you don't know, people you might have heard of. Okay? Here it is. Imagine you shit is going loose and you just hear, "Oh, LeBron James died." Like I'm just, just examples. I'm not wishing death on him or anything. But, just an example, right? Like, or somebody famous, let me go like that. Somebody famous, just got shot. They were coming out of the market. They got robbed, killed. Boom, that's it. Whatever. Or they found this person dead in their house. And it's going to be so... See, today, right? When like you hear like Kobe Bryant died. Helicopter crash, he died. It was a big deal. Oh my gosh, Kobe, right? But that's because you can sort of think of it like almost in an isolated situation. Now, imagine Kobe, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then this guy, then you, then you're not you, but your family, your loved ones, and everybody is going through some shit. There wouldn't be as much attention on Kobe's death in that time because everybody's going to be going through it and there's going to be so much going on. Right? It says here, verse 28, "For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks." So it's not going to be safe to be out here in these streets, and people are going to be hiding. Abandoned buildings, different areas, trying to find places to hide and be good. All right, because that's how bad it's going to get out here. So these are the last calls, man, the warning signs, and they're getting louder and louder. So if you're not ready, if you're not paying attention, if you're not, you haven't repented, you're not calling on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you're not building up your faith, you're going to be in for a very, very, very rude awakening, a very painful time. All right, so with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.